romanto, Mr. Romanto.
Domo arigato, geek to me radio, da 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 da. Domo arigato, geek to me radio, da 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 da.
Welcome, 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 geeks and nerds, girls and boys, to our 100th broadcast on Geek to Me Radio. We are joined today by former Marvel Comics editor and Valiant Comics creator Jim Shooter. We'll be talking with Tara Strong all about Teen Titans Go, the movie, and Jason Liles, performance capture artist from the movie Rampage, plus our big giveaway at the end of the show. Stand by.
We're talking TV, comics and movies, and video games. And if you don't know Star Trek from Star Wars, we'll try to explain. There are 12 doctors for Hogwarts houses, one ring rules them all. To be the greatest Pokemon master, you must catch them all. You must catch them all. Try to catch them all. Gotta catch them all. Gotta catch them all.
Our 100th broadcast. We are jam-packed with guests today. We're going to kick it off right now with former Marvel Comics editor and Valiant Comics creator Jim Shooter.
Talking now with legendary comic editor, writer, you've kind of done it all, Jim Shooter.
Hi.
So I read your started for DC when you were 14 years old. Is that still a record, I think, as far as youngest writer for DC Comics?
It was 13 years old. But, yeah, I think for writers, I was talking to the late Joe Kubert one time, and he was telling me about his early days working in a studio, and he actually did some professional backgrounds when he was 12, so I guess he's the all-time champion. But yeah, I mean, I was 13. I sent in some stuff. They didn't know how old I was. I lived 400 miles away, and everything was through the mail. And when the editor finally asked me, he said, "How old are you?" And I said, "Oh, I just turned 14. He said, "Put your mother on the phone."
So your mother was your first agent, too,
I guess so. He just wanted to make sure it was all right with her. And when it was, then it was fine. The thing was, though, being only 14, I had to bring her with me on my first business trip. It's a little embarrassing. But
well, I mean, you're 14. That stuff happens. That's still not embarrassing when you're thinking about what you're doing at the age of 14. That's pretty cool.
That's true.
And you've worked for Marvel. You've worked for DC. Obviously, Valiant Comics, Defiant Comics. Do you have, out of all the characters you've worked on, do you have a favorite character?
Oh, I don't know. It's a corny answer, but I mean, whatever I'm working on at the time, I get real interested and intense about that. I like Spider-Man and the characters I created for the Valiant, well, all of them, but I think especially Harbinger.
So where did you draw the inspiration from for Shadow Man, for Valiant, for Exo?
Well, I wanted to have something different. And so I decided to focus on powers of the mind. You'll notice that none of them, at least when I was there, had wings or was made of rocks or anything like that. Whatever they could do was a manifestation of the powers of the mind. Once you sort of create a premise like that, then it leads you different directions. The first thing created was Harbinger. And that sort of set the tone for everything. Harbinger was created as I was hired by Paramount Pictures to create a young superhero group for a movie. And I wrote the treatment for Harbinger and, kind of got into the powers of the mind thing. And then when I sent it to Paramount, and I got a call. They loved it. Wanted me to come out and spend some time. They wanted me to write the screenplay, even though I'd never written one before, and so forth. So I get there, and I'm talking to the head of production of Paramount. And she had my treatment on her desk, and she taps it and she says, "We love this." And then she says, "But we just signed a 7-picture deal with Eddie Murphy," and she slides it across the desk drawer. She says, "Could you make this into a comedy?"
Oh my gosh!
And I said, "No." I said, "You keep your money, lady. I'll keep the Harbinger." And like I said, it became sort of the foundation of Valiant.
Was that hard to stick by your guns in that, or was it just a no-brainer?
No-brainer for me. I mean, worked hard on that. And I liked it, and I wasn't going to, ruin it. So I just said no thanks, and that's not the first disappointment I had in my life. So, just went home and did something else.
And there was, I always talk to comic creators, and I love to get it right from their mouth directly because the internet distorts stuff. There's talk about how there was the contentious period of time when you were running Marvel. All the books were on time, everything, but there was, I guess, some pushback. Was there much to that, or was it really much ado about nothing?
Well, I mean, the thing is, when I first took over as editor-in-chief, everything was late, desperately late. I had books on my desk that hadn't gone to the separator yet that should have been on sale 6 months before. I also, the copyright law changed, and no one at Marvel had done anything about it. So then I had to get everybody who worked for me to sign documents. Nobody wants to sign legal documents. Nobody.
Right.
And at the same time, Neil Adams was starting a guild to go on strike against Marvel. Neil, my good buddy. I mean, I've known Neil for over 50 years, and even during that time, we were the best of friends because he knew I was trying to help people from the inside.
Yeah.
He was trying to help people from the outside. I just kept telling him, Neil, you're making it harder on me. And Marvel's not doing well. They'll just close it if you go on strike or something. Anyway, it worked out. I mean, the guild eventually collapsed because a couple of comic book companies cut back or went out of business, and so there was a lot of people looking for work. And the other thing that made it collapse is that I got it done. I got benefits and rights and royalties and all kinds of things for the guys. So as the people started to make money and they had health insurance and they had life insurance and they had all their materials paid for, and all the good things started to happen. Well, all of that contention from the beginning kind of changed. I mean, suddenly I was very popular, and for my 30th birthday there was this tremendous party they threw for me and everything. Don't worry, they got back to hating me again later. But the thing was, when things were good, everybody was pretty happy. Let me tell you something about creators, though. If you actually man the helm, if you're trying to do the job, and my job was to guide and protect those franchises, Marvel Comics, and so that means occasionally you've got to tell a creator no. They don't like hearing that word, ever.
Right.
But I did. Most of the people I worked with were really pretty good. I mean, you walked around that office, you see Archie Goodwin, Larry Hama, Louise Simons, and you see Bill Sienkiewicz, Frank Miller, all these wonderful, brilliant talents. And the ones I just rattled off there, they were all really, really good people. So, I mean, I think that some of the controversy is baloney. Toward the end, when the company was being sold, I mean, we had this incredible run where everybody was doing really well. Then at the end, when the company's being sold, the owners don't want to invest anymore, and they're taking away our health care plan, and they're taking away our pension, and somehow a lot of this got blamed on me, or at least, let's put it this way, I couldn't fix it, and so people got frustrated, and and of course, if you're a vice president of a company and the six guys who own the corporation decide they're going to sell your company, you have two choices. You can either help them sell everybody down the river, or you can become a labor leader. And I became a labor leader, so that made me unpopular with the management too. So they're trying to undercut me, and as soon as they found that somebody they thought could replace me, they got rid of me. They're trying to make me as unpopular as possible because they had this fear that if I walked out of there, a lot of our best guys would come with me.
Sure.
So they did everything they could to marginalize me and blame everything there ever was on me. Kirby was my fault. Gerber was my fault. So I don't know. I mean, I just did the best I could, and I think a lot of good things got done, and a lot of good people, prospered and deserved it.
Yeah, you oversaw some of the most incredible storylines and things that came out of Marvel at that time. So my last question, you've worked for Marvel, you've worked for DC. Marvel's Cinematic Universe is doing gangbusters. DC is still having trouble finding their footing except for Wonder Woman. If they came to you to consult and said, hey, Jim Shooter, help us fix the DC Cinematic Universe, what advice would you give them?
I tell them to do it right. I mean, the secret is tell a good story and tell it well. I think for the most part in the Marvel movies they've done that. There's a few I didn't like as much, but I think with the exception of like a couple of the Batman movies, which are pretty good, I haven't really. I thought Green Lantern was awful.
Yeah, you're not alone. Ryan Reynolds doesn't like it either. So. Jim Shooter, thanks so much for speaking with us on air.
It was my pleasure.
There you go, Jim Shooter. We're going to be coming back, talking with Tara Strong all about Teen Titans Go to the movies right after this, so stand by.
Hey guys, this is Corey Payton. I play Cyborg on Teen Titans Go. Booyah! And get ready for some Geek to Me radio. I hear it's real good.
We are back live on Geek to Me Radio. This segment brought to you by Historic St. Charles. You can go to discoverstcharles.com to check out their website. All the cool things there are to see and do down there. Beautiful day today. It looks like it might rain a little bit, but that never stops people from going out and enjoying St. Charles. There's all sorts of, it does start to rain. Head into one of the shops, head into one of the restaurants. Check out some places to go indoors for a while. Come back out, enjoy the splendor of downtown historic St. Charles, the historic markers on the buildings, some of them dating back all the way to the early 1800s. We've got the Missouri State Capitol. The original Missouri State Capitol was in St. Charles before it was moved to Jefferson City. The building's still there up on the hill. There's always cool things going on, always events and festivals, always something to see and do that you may have never seen or done before. Before going down to historic St. Charles, I'd never had a gooey butter milkshake. Now I can say I have. My arteries thank me for it every day. They're so good, though. Go to Little O's, get a gooey butter milkshake. The ice cream parlors, the sweet shops. There's all sorts of shopping. They've got the Missouri wines down there you can try. Great restaurants. The Blackberry Cobbler at Magpies in the 900 block cannot be beat. Check them out. Plan your trip now. DiscoverStCharles.com. Legends and Lanterns coming up. You know you're going to want to see that if you're a Halloween fan. DiscoverStCharles.com. Teen Titans Go. We saw a preview of the movie this past Saturday, just yesterday. It was fantastic, and we got the chance to talk with Tara Strong all about the film. We're talking now with the lady of 1,000 voices. If you've watched an animated feature, played a video game in the past decade, no doubt she has been a part of it. Tara Strong, thank you so much for being on our show.
Thanks for having me.
Anytime. So the big one we're going to talk about, obviously, Teen Titans Go the movie. We had Corey Payton on, I guess, back in February, talking a little bit about it, as well as some of the other stuff. But he said it's just, in his words, a completely ludicrous trip to do this film. So having done this character before, all the characters you've done, Teen Titans Go the movie, what, in your words, can we expect?
Look, if you want to go to the movies and laugh, then go see this movie. It's super silly. It's super dumb. It's super funny. The music's amazing. The animation's amazing. The guest stars are amazing. The story's hilarious. It's just an all-around great family film.
And we've already seen a preview or two have dropped lately for them. We've seen them on the trailers. And it's been reported Nicolas Cage is finally getting to do Superman. That's got to be a very surreal experience working with Nicolas Cage as a voice of Superman.
I mean, I wish we had been with him in the session, but we weren't, because I know it's been a dream of his. I mean, didn't he name his kid Kal-El?
Yeah, I think he did, yeah.
He's like a huge Superman fan, so that would have been fun to witness it, and I've seen some of the clips, and they're pretty darn brilliant. But we didn't actually get to work together, which kind of stinks. Sometimes that happens in feature films. Although us as a cast did work together a lot in this movie, even if you are going from series to feature, a lot of times you work alone. And
doing this movie, you're familiar with the character, even the series. You've had this time with Kari and everybody else. Is that a plus, I would assume, to have this cast you've worked with constantly, being able to rely on them, know what they're going to throw at you, everything like that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've been together for so long, 17 years maybe. And you certainly become a family, just like if you were doing a sitcom or a theatrical play or movie. You really become a family with your co-stars, and being how long we've been together, we genuinely all love each other so much, and that translates no matter what we're doing. If we were doing a special of the original Teen Titans, if we're doing a series of Go or the feature, it's the same folks in the room, and it's the same energy and the same love, and we have the greatest time together. And like I said, I think that really translates when you're watching it.
And of the five mainstays of the cast, which one of you, if you were to say the person most likely to break, to laugh, or to try to get everyone else to laugh, which of you is the jokester of the group?
Probably Sipes. Probably Greg Sipes. I would say that Scott Menville's the hardest working of the group. He's like the leader in every way. I mean, sometimes we'll have like a few lines an episode, and Raven never gets too excited, but Scotty is blowing a vocal cord pretty much every recording. And Greg Sipes is just silly and often funny without even trying. Like, he'll just say a word wrong or not know how to pronounce something or try to make it funny, and it comes out all crazy, and he's just a funny, crazy guy, and love having him in the studio. So I'd say he's probably class clown, and then Menville's like the teacher's pet.
All the projects you've done, I was going to print off your IMDb page, but I would have had to kill an entire tree to get the characters you've done. And obviously, full confession, I am a hardcore brony. I went and saw the movie that was just out. You had some phenomenal talent as the guests on that. Was that another one, being the big feature film, that not everyone was in studio for that one?
Yeah, I worked alone on that, which I always do. I always work on Pony alone because the rest of the cast is in Vancouver. So I did get to meet the celebrities that guest starred at the premiere, and that one recording on my way in, Kristen Chenoweth was on her way out, and she was the sweetest bug ever, and I've kind of been obsessed with her since Wicked, so it was so sweet that she was just like the nicest girl ever. But yeah, we did not get to record together. And
you've had so many voices, like I said, that you've done. In your mind, when you go in, let's say it's a brand new project, how do you keep all the voices straight? And when you do the voices, when you're kind of finding the voice for a character, do you ever say to yourself, well, that's a little too Harley, or well, that's a little too Twilight Sparkle? And what is your process for finding a new voice for a new character that you're doing?
Well, when we have an audition, we'll get, a drawing of the character and sides and maybe a show Bible so they understand the world that they're living in. And then I do my auditions in my home studio first. And then if there's a callback, hopefully you go in and you meet the producers. And you as the voice actor have to try and think what the creative team envisioned for this character to sound like. And then even within those parameters, once you get in there, you have to be willing to be their silly putty, because they might say, oh, now we want her a little older or chubbier or with braces, or she's from England, or she's a dude. So you kind of have to be willing to play around, and I'm pretty conscientious about not sounding exactly like a previous character that I've done, and once I create them, they kind of live in my head and come down to play when it's their turn. But I'm sure there's some that have like some crossover where it's like, oh, that sounded like this one or that one. And it's funny when the fans kind of catch it and animate it, like they have Twilight Sparkle with Juliet Starling's voice in it, which is a pretty crazy video game, so that's kind of funny. But yeah, I do try to make at least some differentiation between them, because like I said, they're their own entity once I sort of create them.
And we had Phil Lamar and Matt King talking about the Goblins animated project. They mentioned that they wanted to surround themselves with the best, and your name was up there with them. That's got to be such a good feeling to be in this lofty voice actor circle of people like Maurice LaMarche and Phil Lamar, Jim Cummings, who are doing a project like this and be asked to be a part of it.
Yeah, I mean, we really all do love each other. The voiceover world is different than on camera. It's very collaborative and supportive. It's not about what you look like. It's, these gifts that you have to bring these characters to life. And I've not had a day at work where I'm not completely blown away by something one of my cohorts can do. So we genuinely all really love each other. And if we have the opportunity to choose who we're going to be with, we're going to choose each other pretty much every time.
And with Teen Titans Go, the movie coming out, you're obviously reprising Raven. You've also played in the Marvel sandbox as well. Invisible Woman, Mary Jane, and Spider-Man, the Scarlet Witch. Is there? Do you have a preference, like DC versus Marvel? If you, Tara Strong, had to pick one or the other going forward, which would you choose? We'll get Tara's answer to that question right after this. Stand by.
This is Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman. You're listening to Geek to Me Radio.
We are back. Talking with Tara Strong here on our 100th episode broadcast. Right before the break, we asked her, because she's played in both the Marvel and the DC universes in her animated voiceover roles, if she had to pick one, Marvel or DC, going forward, which would she choose?
Oh my gosh, that's such a hard question because I do love them both equally, but I do have so much fun doing Raven, Batgirl, and Harley, so they all kind of live in DC world. I'd have to choose them, but I do love the Marvel world too.
With all the characters you've done, and there have been so many, is there a character, or if not a character, perhaps a franchise that you've not gotten involved with yet that you would like to do, like a dream role, if you could have that?
You know, I already had my dream role come true. I was a huge Little Mermaid fan, and when I first moved to town, I booked the sequel, and I got to sing with Jodie Benson. Mm. And then, of course, playing Batgirl alongside Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy, I mean, it's just, if I keep asking for stuff, it's just not nice. It's pretty amazing what I've already accomplished. It would be nice to be on The Simpsons. I've never done that, so
really?
It's probably the only one. Yeah, that'd be fun.
I'll put a call into Matt Groening. We'll get it done for you.
Thank you.
No problem. And again, with the material you've worked on and everything like that, some of the stuff I'll point to, because we had a question come in from Twitter by user @TripHopMatt, wanted to know, the Batman animated series was already kind of a noir. We kind of got used to that feeling. With the Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, that was a darker script. When you got that one, it had some great Batgirl moments. Was there anything in your mind that kind of stood out? I was like, wow, is this going to be too dark? Was it ever a thought that flashed across for you?
Not really, because I prefer the dark. Anytime I've done any kind of superhero iteration, I'm always really drawn to the darker side. Not that I don't love Go, because it's a completely different show,
right?
And a completely different vibe. But particularly when I'm doing Batman, I just like that dark. So it's another reason I love The Killing Joke. It was really dark, so well done. And so anytime you really get to sink your teeth into something and be serious and have serious acting beats within this world, it's such a gift.
And we had Brian Azzarello on the show with us not that long ago talking about writing that script, which was making The Killing Joke longer for a feature film, adding that Batgirl Batman storyline. So that, again, very dark. Had you read The Killing Joke previously before that extra part got added into the script?
No, I didn't read the comic before I read the movie. But then I did read the comic, and when you watch the movie and then you look at the comic, it's so crazy how close the animation is.
Yeah.
And the story, and I really appreciated them adding stuff for Batgirl, being that, like you said, the comic isn't long enough for a film, so to choose Batgirl as what you're going to expand the story on was really exciting for me, and to have the romantic love interest was all Bruce Timm, and I think he's kind of always wanted to see that, and I'm happy for him that he did, and I really loved it so much. I know a lot of people were like, man, we don't want that, but it wasn't gratuitous at all. I thought it was really, really well handled, and I thought, Batgirl is a grown woman. Yeah. She's not related to Batman.
Right.
So I kind of like that she made these adult choices and then, of course, had to deal with the consequences. And again, it's not a happy ending. It's still very dark. So I quite appreciated that whole extra bit just for me.
And going to the lighter side, Teen Titans Go, the movie. So excited for this film. If you had to sum up Raven in the movie in one sentence, her role, what happens to her, what would that sentence be?
It would really just be a word, and that word is whatever.
Perfect. So we can expect...
Which is the quintessential Raven.
Right. So we can certainly expect more whatever from Raven in Teen Titans Go, the movie.
But it really is, I have to say, we don't see it in advance, we see it in the ADR. It's just so hilarious, and the music is phenomenal. It's really, really great. I mean, Raven really gets to bust out and sing some great songs, and they're catchy. They stick in your head. That's probably a warning I should give to moviegoers. The songs definitely stick in your head.
We'll definitely keep that in mind. I'll have something on autoplay on my phone when I leave the theater to try to balance out the earworms that you'll give me then.
Definitely, yeah.
And I've got to end this interview by telling you, I told my niece that I would be talking to you. Tara Strong, my niece Sophia says hello.
Dear Princess Celestia, today I talked to a really cool guy about his niece Sophia. I hope all her dreams come true.
Thank you so much. That'll make her entire year. I want to get her anything for her birthday now. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
What upcoming appearances, before I let you go, any upcoming cons or appearances where people can come meet you?
Yep, I'm going to Boston Comic-Con August 10th, and I have amazing Comic-Con Aloha in Hawaii, so hopefully they're all good. There's no more volcanoes.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to Dragon Con in August in Atlanta, and of course I'll be at San Diego Comic-Con. Come say hi.
Tara Strong, thank you so much for your time today. It's been an absolute delight. I tried not to gush too much, but as I said, I'm a huge brony and a huge fan of yours. Thank you for your time.
Aw, well, lovely talking to you. Thanks for having me.
There she goes, Tara Strong. We're going to wrap things up, coming back talking with actor Jason Liles about Rampage, the movie, right after this, so stand by.
Hi there, this is Tara Strong, also known as Harley Quinn.
Or Raven, and you're listening to Geek to Me Radio.
Just wrapped our interview with Tara Strong talking about Teen Titans Go to the movies out in theaters coming up next weekend, I believe. We saw a preview at Saturday. It was fantastic. Another movie that was out in theaters. You may have missed it, and I wish you had seen it because it deserves to be seen on the big screen. We're talking now with the person who did all the performance capture art for the Gorilla George in Rampage opposite Dwayne Johnson. We're talking now with Jason Liles from Rampage. Obviously, Dwayne Johnson we saw. We didn't see Jason per se, but he was a larger-than-life presence playing George. Jason, thanks very much for taking time out of your day to talk to us.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. So this movie, I loved it. We reviewed it on air. As far as playing this part, I know with your height, you're 6'9". Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct.
So that obviously gives you that sight line for Dwayne Johnson to look up to. Obviously, you're quite a bit larger than even him, who's a big guy. And then you played this character. You were into the character, like not letting people touch up your makeup if it was as long as it wasn't ruined. You wanted to stay in character as much as possible. So that had to be an exhausting process for you.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's the only way to do it really for me. Like I didn't want to halfway do it or anything. I wanted to help people see me as George as much as possible. So every day I would make my way from my trailer or from the Weta digital tent to set, walking on all fours as George. I'd spend an hour or so every morning on set, just getting comfortable with the set, and I would make it to where by the time everyone else came on set, all the other actors, whether that was Dwayne Johnson or Naomi Harris or Jeffrey Dean Morgan, I would be George. In fact, the first day was a 16-hour day, and I worked all day with Dwayne. I had met him the day before, and I worked all day with Naomi, and I hadn't met her yet. And I didn't introduce myself until the end of the day, like 11 p.m., because I was George all day.
And with this kind of movie, obviously, because I read, too, that you spent a lot of months studying gorillas, their movement, some training on the Kong Islands, Terry Notary and stuff. So how far in advance did you get the notification that you'd be in the movie to give you that kind of time? I'm kind of surprised there was that much prep time, which is great, but is that a normal thing for someone in your particular area of expertise?
It's not normal at all. Like, this was a situation. We had just gotten back from Death Note, and the visual effects supervisor, Colin Strauss, who's a very good friend, he told me that this was his next movie, and then at a barbecue, he said, well, they need someone taller, ideally, to play George. So I'm going to tell him you're the best guy for the role. Start looking at Coco the gorilla and silverbacks, and, see they might want to meet with you in like a week. And this was November of 2016, and I didn't get a phone call for about 5 months. I watched every documentary. I went to the LA Zoo tons. I'm a member there now, so I can go as much as I want. It's just 5 minutes from where I live. Watched tons of behind the scenes. I studied as much as I could. Then Terry Notary, when I got called by the producers, they had me meet with Terry, and I was already very familiar with his work and all the Planet of the Apes films, and Kong Skull Island was just about to come out, just to name a couple films of everything that he's done. And we did about an hour and a half. That was kind of the audition. It was like an hour and a half session with Terry. They had heard enough, I guess, to really say, well, as long as he doesn't, screw this up with Terry, then we can probably train him and get him going. And Terry was amazing. And then we trained for 3 weeks, hours every day, miles and miles and miles on the arm extensions. And so you can be on all fours in the Santa Monica Mountains. It was so incredibly green. Really, the physical side of it was extremely I knew that was going to be taxing. My body got used to that. It was incredibly sore the first week, muscles I had never felt. But the most difficult part was being a gorilla and being George and stripping down all the social conditioning and human things of nodding and asking for permission and keeping eye contact and smiling and getting rid of all that stuff. Because at our core, we're 96% identical to chimps in our DNA. So Terry's methodology is, if we can strip away the things that make you a man and an American and a human and Jason, you're already there. And then it's engaging your senses as a gorilla. It really transformed my perception on life, animals, creating and playing a character. Like, it was the best way I can describe it was, I feel like he got me to a place where I could lucid dream as a character while awake. It was indescribable, just an unbelievable experience.
And that sounds like, because when you think about that, from all the stuff you just said from a psychological standpoint, because you were born in, I believe, 1987, so you've been on the earth for a while, you've had these social conditionings, how to interact with human beings. To strip all that away, was there I don't know what else to say, but was there a recovery time where you actually had to come down each day a little bit and kind of get back, or was it easy enough to snap back into?
It became a light switch. By the end of the 3 weeks, I could just give me a few seconds. I could probably tap into George, but especially if you give me a few minutes. I mean, I had been practicing meditation for a few years, and that's really most animals, but specifically a gorilla's natural state. They're not in their heads thinking about things how we think. We have language and words. They don't have that. They might learn sign language, but they're not thinking about it in a way of like thinking. They're very present. They're not thinking about what just happened. They're not thinking about what might happen. They're in tune with their senses here. So a lot of it was just really meditating, and it's very difficult to turn your mind off. If it's something, we're constantly with that voice going, and we're worrying about this, and we're like, oh, did I tell you about the thing yesterday? And like, oh, I can't wait for tomorrow. We're so rarely just here.
And I've got a degree in psychology, bachelor's degree, so everything, I could probably sit here and talk to you for an hour or two just about your process, because that's amazing.
We could talk about forever. Forever, yeah.
I do want to mention that Jason Liles will be at SDCC in booth 3745 Thursday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., Saturday, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. So if you're out there at SDCC, go by and say hi. And obviously Rampage available on Blu-ray and DVD on July 17th. So if you didn't get to see it in movie theaters, I feel horrible for you, because the IMAX experience, seeing it in a large setting, the DVD and Blu-ray, while it will be entertaining, it'll be one of those that people get and they'll be like, oh, I wish I would have seen this in the theaters. Jason Liles, thank you again for your time today. Follow him on Twitter at @TheJasonLiles. We'll look forward to Rampage on Blu-ray and DVD. Jason, thanks very much.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I'd love to catch up again. Have a fantastic day and rest of y'all's week.
Great guy. We're hopefully going to get him back on before the Godzilla movie. We're going to come back and wrap things up. We're going to talk about our giveaway. You still have time to enter, and what's on tap for the rest of August coming up here. Stand by.
Great hair. May the force be with you. This is Susan Eisenberg, voiceover actress, and you are listening to Geek to Me Radio.
Susan Eisenberg. She was going to be on the show today for our 100th episode, but she is obviously at San Diego Comic-Con as well. So I said, don't worry about it. We'll have you on next Sunday. So Susan Eisenberg will be joining us, talking about some Wonder Woman stuff, talking about the fun she had at San Diego Comic-Con, and we'll talk about more stuff. Hopefully that Justice League reunion, #JL reunion, will be happening. Andrea Romano was out there at Comic-Con. I saw her. She was out there with Kevin Conroy for the new Batman on Blu-ray set that includes Mask of the Phantasm and Batman Sub-Zero in the set of all the cartoons. But they've got a thing. Today's the last day, folks. Today, which is the 22nd, if you go to find the DC Universe, which is their new streaming service, today's the last day. You sign up now, today. You get the whole year for $74.99 plus 3 months free on top of that. Do it now because that price is going to jump up. You can be one of the very first subscribers. You'll get access to free things, or not free things, but exclusives only for members, like the new Justice League Unlimited figure set they're releasing. The original 7 plus Aquaman. I've seen the previews for it. They look great. So I'm not getting paid a dime by DC. I wish I was, but I'm excited, and this is the last day to do it. Go sign up. Just to let you know, we'll have Susan Eisenberg talking all about that next week. We'll also have Chris Sanchez from Mad Cave Studios talking about some of their upcoming comic books and a contest they have going as well, and that'll be exciting. So tune in for that show. Going forward in August, we're going to be broadcasting live from Toyman Toy Show August 5th. Make sure you come out for that show. We'll be there live. We're going to be doing some more giveaways there. I'll be selling my stuff. So come by parts of my personal collection. I'm going to bring out some really good pieces, try to get all my stuff sold. And then 2 weekends from then, we'll be broadcasting live from Connecticut at TerrificCon. We've got a huge bevy of celebrities there. Fantastic comic book artists and writers, the best in the business, will be there. We'll be trying to get some interviews with them, and we'll find out who we end up getting that weekend. We're going to be doing a live special Saturday broadcast that weekend. We'll be broadcasting on Saturday instead of Sunday, so make sure you mark that in your calendars, and we'll have that up. Obviously, if you can't tune in on Saturdays, we'll have that up in the podcast. I do want to mention our sponsor, Marcus Theaters. If you're going to go see Teen Titans Go with Tara Strong and Kari Payton, or if you want to go out there and you still want to see, you haven't seen Skyscraper yet, go out and see it at a Marcus Theater. MarcusTheaters.com is the website. You can get your tickets right there. You can check out reviews of the movies. You can look at all the locations, which one's the closest to you. You can do it all right from MarcusTheaters.com. And I will say, this week, I had to go to 2 previews. I went and saw Mamma Mia 2, and I saw Teen Titans Go. They were at other theaters. And I will say, they just weren't as nice. I'm not going to call out the theaters by name, but Marcus Theaters is that just next level. They've really revolutionized the way they came in, and they got all the Warenberg theaters. They've upgraded them. They're ridiculously nice with the big, comfy, heated, reclining seats. The concessions and the food are just next level. If you're going to go see a movie, if you're going to go out of your house and sit in the theater, which I love that experience, why not do it correctly? Go to see it at a Marcus Theaters. MarcusTheaters.com is the website. Get out there, check out the website, find the location closest to you. 11 states where you can find them. So get out there and go to a Marcus Theaters this week. You won't be disappointed. I want to once again also thank our premier sponsor, the City of St. Charles. Discover stcharles.com. Legends and Lanterns. I just barely mentioned it, but that is, if you're a Halloween fan, that's the place you want to be in St. Charles the last 2 weekends of October. They're going to, if you're familiar with Christmas traditions, just like that, but it's for Halloween. They're going to have living history characters like Lizzie Borden. They're going to have Baron Samedi. They've got a group of angry villagers who goes around singing cool arrangements. If you like the Ghostbusters or the Monster Mash, request that. They'll sing it for you while they're out trying to hunt down all the monsters. Phantom of the Opera will be out there. They've got Medusa, all sorts of cool characters for you to interact with. It's fun for all ages. Bring the entire family out. There's hay rides. It's a fantastic time. HistoricStCharles.com is the website. And I want to make sure that if you did hear the interviews today with Jim Shooter, Tara Strong, and Jason Liles, those are kind of truncated because obviously a little behind-the-scenes information for radio people. We have to sometimes get these interviews down. I spent probably a good 16 minutes chatting with Jason Liles. Fantastic guy. Couldn't squeeze the entire conversation in to a single segment. So go to geektomeradio.com and you can click on the archive link there to see all of our past shows and get the full interviews on our YouTube page. You'll get the podcast version from Podomatic, iTunes, Google Play, and SoundCloud, so you can replay these episodes if you're just now tuning in. But if you want to see the full interview, go to my YouTube icon at the top of my website, and you can check out other interviews we've had there with people like Rob Paulson from Animaniacs and other people like that. We'll have those interviews posted hopefully later this week if you missed our Jim Shooter, our Tara Strong, or our Jason Liles interview in full. Fantastic stuff. We're starting our third year. We're ending our year 2, and we're starting our third year going forward. I'm going to be working with someone to update the website. We're going to have that all flashy and brandy new. It'll be exciting. And we're going to be hopefully doing some more giveaways like the one I've got right now. If you are on Twitter, follow me at Geek to Me Radio, retweet the last contest tab that I put up, and you can win. This is honoring our 100th episode guest. We've got Batman Ninja on Blu-ray and DVD right here in my hand. Starring Tara Strong as the voice of Harley. we also have a Blu-ray of Rampage starring Dwayne Johnson and Jason Liles, who played George. You can see George towering over Dwayne Johnson right there on the cover. And, of course, Jim Shooter, the creator of Valiant Comics. We have an issue of Archer and Armstrong #1 and Eternal Warrior #1 from the 90s, from the original run when Valiant all started, which Valiant has made an extraordinary comeback, going from finding these comics in the 50-cent bin to all of a sudden these comics are worth $10, $20 a piece. And their new line, with a lot of these characters still in play, they're just some really great readings. So if you haven't checked out Valiant Comics lately, you might want to check out Valiant Comics at your local comic book store. Shout out to Justin's Comics in St. Charles for the place where I go to get my comic books whenever I'm out in the St. Charles area. A lot of stuff happening. We're going to be getting into, I kind of wanted to sidebar some of these interviews to talk about the James Gunn thing, because that was just blindsided a lot of people. I'm sure blindsided him too. Just a quick recap. He was fired by Disney for some tweets that he'd put out 8 years ago. There's so much to unpack because it brings into question free speech. But Disney is beholden to a corporation and shareholders, and there's a lot to untangle. It's a mess. I feel bad for James Gunn. You can feel bad for someone without supporting something that they said. That's just, he expressed remorse, and I think that it was sincere, and I think that he's a different person now. Aren't we all a little bit different than we were 10 years ago? Not condoning the jokes by any means. That's not my intent. I think he would even say they were bad jokes. I think he even did apologize for them back in 2012. But needless to say, that was a lot to get into on this show that was already jam-packed with guests. So we will maybe get to that in another show coming up here very soon. It's very interesting to see what will happen with Guardians of the Galaxy going forward, and who will helm that, who they'll bring in to, I think the script was already done, if I'm not mistaken. So the script's already written. It's just a matter of getting it directed. And James Gunn was very successful part of the first 2 Guardians movies. We'll see how that franchise fares going forward. Very, very interesting. And a lot of going on Twitter. If you want to kind of get the backstory, we have a link on my Facebook page, facebook.com/GeekToMeRadio. You can click on the James Gunn link. It takes you to the Hollywood Reporter. Tells you the story there. Thank you very much for tuning in for the past 100 shows. We will do it again next week. So until then...
It's not in the way you watch I zombie. It's not in the way you watch The Flash. It's not in the way you love Scotty Young art. It's not in the way you play Mario Kart. It's not in the way you look when you make Game of Thrones references. That's a show. This is Geek to Me Radio. That's a show. This is Geek to Me Radio.
Thank you, Equestria. Good night.